WWNRockport.com, your community newsletter.
Today, outside of certain professions, it is rare for people to actually encounter death. It normally happens quietly in a hospital, with family and loved ones being told after the event. However, only a century or so ago, things were very different. Death in the 19th century was very much a part of everyday life. It was rare to visit a doctor's office. Few people ever saw the rare hospitals that existed. And the entire process of progressive illness to death was played out in the home, with everyone taking part. And this was certainly the case when George Fulton passed away at the age of 83 on October 30th, 1893. A cold or the flu had kept George bedridden for many months, and no doubt Harriet and his daughters took care of him until the end. His funeral was the largest one in South Texas at the time. Flags on public buildings were lowered, and schools and businesses were closed so that people could pay their respects. The staff and volunteers of the Fulton Mansion will be commemorating George's funeral with a special exhibit and evening tours. The mansion will be dressed in mourning with black bows and wreaths on the door, and the parlor will be set for viewing the casket, as there was no funeral home. And without the modern funeral home and embalming methods we use today, the Victorians here in Texas would have needed to have a quick burial. Caskets were sometimes designed with hidden ice trays to help preserve the body and thus provide time for relatives to arrive for the funeral. To keep down the smell of decay, some caskets were made with windows so the lid could be closed and the body could still be seen. The term casket had become popular to use during the period because a casket is where one kept precious gems and valuables, which made grieving family members feel much better about the dear departed. Some of the traditions from the 19th century were related to superstitions, such as the rule of stopping the clocks in the house between death and burial in order to avoid bad luck. Mirrors were covered with cloth during the same period to avoid seeing an image of the deceased person reflected in the mirror. Window shades were pulled close because the superstition was that if the sun shone on the face of a mourner, they might be the next person to die. These morose rituals and stories about the strict rules for dressing in mourning clothes will be explored during our regular tours starting October 11th, and especially during the evening tours. Please see our ad on the WWN for more information.
Thank you, Marsha. Show your support for the Fulton Mansion by sharing pictures of you and your family enjoying the exhibit. Send them to us at wwnimages@gmail.com. This has been WWNRockport.com and the Fulton Mansion wishing you and yours a happy and safe Halloween.